Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Hello guys, we are group 3. Okay. Good morning. Anybody has laughed today? Well guys, we are standing here. We wanna explain about Bernouli law for Miss Linda. Before it, I want to introduce myself and my friends. My name is Abdul Ibrahim.
My name is Abdul Rahman.
My name is Ahmad Dhani.
My name is Mamat.
And my name is Asrul Anas. Okay, here there are 4 materials. The first material is Bernoulli law and formula Bernoulli law. The second material is part equipment of Terricelli principle. The third material is work rules of Terricelli principle. And the last material is the principle of Terricelli on the leg too. Okay. Now, the first material we wanna explain Mr. Zaka. Time for him.
Hello.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul. I am standing in here is about Bernoulli's principle. Bernoulli's principle that an increase in the speed of a fluid occurs simultaneously with a decrease in pressure or a decrease in the fluid potential energy.
Hello.
Next, this is future formula Terricelli Terricelli. This is P1. P1 pressure at elevation 1. P1 head at elevation 1. P1 pressure at elevation 1. P2 velocity at elevation 2. P1 pressure at elevation 2 and he2 at elevation 2. This is formula. P1 plus 1/2 P1 times V1 plus V1 times he times H1 is P2 plus half 1/2 P2 times V2 plus V1 V2 times E times H2. Next, Mr. Mama.
Hello.
Back to Mr. Abdul.
Hello.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Zaka. Explain about Bernoulli law. The second material is parts equipment of Terricelli principle. This material will explain Mr. Mama. Time for you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Abdul. I'm standing here to explain C. Two part of the Terricelli's theorem. There is a picture. This sporting can and this water and this horse for jet and this mixed jet and this stranger's air. And here there is third holes. The first hole is at the top and the second hole in middle and the third hole at bottom. The first hole the first hole the top. If the hole is at the top, the water pressure is slow. Slow comes for the whole. This the first whole is slow or not fast. This the first hole, and the second hole in the middle. If the hole is in the middle, the water pressure is normal. The water from the hole is normal comes out. The second hole is normal. And the third hole at the bottom. If the hole is at the bottom, the water from the hole is fast. The third hole is fast. Okay, everyone, that's all for me. And back to Mr. Afton.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Rangat, to explain about past estimate of Terricelli. The third material is work-rules of the Terricelli principle. This material will explain Mr. Dani and Mr. Rangat. Time for Okay, here we will explain about vertical and horizontal. Mr. Dani explain about vertical and I explain about horizontal. Time for you, Mr. Dani.
Okay, the vertical. What the meaning is vertical? Vertical is a free fall. Skip kawan, kau lupa kawan. Okay, thank you, Mr. Anas. The vertical. What the meaning is vertical? Vertical is formula for vertical motion in free fall with zero initial velocity. This is equal to f1 f half dt quadrat, and t quadrat equal to h big minus h small divided by g, and t equal the sum to h big minus h small divided by d. Okay, I think enough, and then give to Mr. Anas. Come on, Mr. Anas.
Okay, here I will explain about horizontal. What is horizontal? Horizontal is motion that is perpendicular to the direction of the Earth's gravity and parallel to the ground surface. The formula is x equals v2 times t, and x equals the square root of t times h times the square root 2 times h minus h over d, and x equals to the square root of 2 times d times h minus h over d, and x equals to square root of h times h minus h. Okay, I think enough. Back to Mr. Abdul. Thank you for Mr. Anas and Mr. Dani explain about purpose of Terricelli principle. And the last material is the principle of Terricelli on the leg too. This material will explain myself. This video explain the principle of Terricelli on the leg too. Okay, now I will explain about theorem Terricelli on the leg too. I have to take to this here. Come on. If a container is connected to the upper atmosphere, then has a hole that is much smaller than the container area under the surface of the fluid. The velocity of the jet of fluid is equal to the speed of free fall. Come on, let's start it. Okay, come on, look at me. Yeah, this is theorem Terricelli in the leg 2. If a container is connected to the upper atmosphere, then has a hole that is much smaller than the container area under the surface of the fluid, the velocity of the jet of fluid is equal to the speed of free fall. Free fall. Okay, now in the second, if a container has a cover in its upper, then has a smaller hole from the legs of the container so that water will not go out. Let's perfect. This is not go out, not go out, not go out. If a connected atmosphere, the container area under surface of the container. Okay. Terricelli a place if the upper end of the container is exposed. This the atmosphere, and the area of the hole is much smaller than the cross section of the container. If a container has a cover, is the upper, then come on, look at me. No, the water will not go out. Okay. Thank you. Okay. The conclusion for the principle of Terricelli on the leg 2. Terricelli theorem applies if the upper of the container is exposed to the atmosphere, and the area of the hole is much smaller than the cross section of the container. Okay, thank you. That's all for me. Well, guys, that's all what we need to refer to you. We apologize for my mistake, if any. Thank you very much for your attention. See you next time, and
Don't forget guys!
Like,
comment
And subscribe. Share.
the last message.
Sumasalam.